tarot. Its occult significance, use in fortune-telling, and method of play, etc. By S. L. MacGregor Mathers. To enter within the limits of this short treatise upon any long inquiry into the history of cards is utterly out of the question, and I shall therefore confine myself to examining briefly into what relates to their most ancient form, the tarot, or tarocchi cards, and to giving as clearly and concisely as possible instructions which will enable my readers to utilize them for fortune-telling, to which they are far better adapted from the greater number and variety of their combinations than the ordinary cards. I shall also enter somewhat into their occult and Kabbalistical significations. The term tarot, or tarocchi, is applied to a pack of 78 cards, consisting of 4 suits of 14 cards each, there being one more court card than in the ordinary packs, the cavalier, knight, or horseman, and 22 symbolical picture cards answering for trumps. These latter are numbered from 1 to 21 inclusive, the 22nd card being marked 0, 0. The designs of these trumps are extremely singular, among them being such representations as death, the devil, the last judgment, and so on. The idea that cards were first invented to amuse Charles VI of France is now exploded, and it is worthy of note in this connection that their supposititious inventor was Jacques Gringoneur, an astrologer and Kabbalist. Furthermore, cards were known prior to this period among the Indians and the Chinese. Atala indeed gives in one of his tracts on the tarot a representation of the mystical arrangement of these cards in the Temple of Ptah at Memphis, and he further says, "Upon a table or altar at the height of the breast of the Egyptian magus, or hierophant, were on one side a book or assemblage of cards, or plates of gold, the tarot, and on the other a vase, etc." This idea is further dilated upon by P. Christian, the disciple of Eliphas Levi, in his Histoire de la Magie, to which I shall have occasion to refer later. The great exponents of the tarot, Coeur de Gebelin, Levi, and Atala, have always assigned to the tarot a Kabbalistico-Egyptian origin, and this I have found confirmed in my own researches into this subject, which have extended over several years. W. Hughes Wilshire, in his remarks on the general history of playing cards, says, "The most ancient cards which have come down to us are of the tarot's character. These are the 4 cards of the Musée Correr at Venice, the 17 pieces of the Paris cabinet, erroneously often called the Gringoneur or Charles VI cards of 1392, 5 Venetian tarots of the 15th century, in the opinion of some not of an earlier date than 1425, and the series of cards belonging to a Minciot set, in the possession of the Countess Aurelia Visconti Gonzaga at Milan when Cicognara wrote." W. A. Chatto, in his History of Playing Cards, says that cards were invented in China as early as A.D. 1120, in the reign of Seunho, for the amusement of his numerous concubines. J. F. Vaillant, in Les Roms, Histoire vraie des vrais Bohémiens, Paris, 1857, says that the Chinese have a drawing divided into compartments or series, based on combinations of the number 7. 1. It so closely resembles the tarot that the 4 suits of the latter occupy its first 4 columns. Of the 21 atouts, 14 occupy the 5th column, and the 7 other atouts the 6th column. This 6th column of 7 atouts is that of the 6 days of the week of creation. Now, according to the Chinese, this representation belongs to the first ages of their empire, to the drying up of the waters of the deluge by IAO. It may be concluded, therefore, that it is an original or a copy of the tarot, and under any circumstances, that the latter is of an origin anterior to Moses, that it belongs to the beginning of our time, to the epoch of the preparation of the zodiac, and consequently that it must own 6,600 years of existence. But notwithstanding the apparent audacity of this latter statement, it must be evident on reflection that the tarot, consisting, as it does, of the 10 numbers of the decimal scale counterchanged with the tetrad, and of a hieroglyphic alphabet of 22 mystic symbols, must be relegated to far earlier period in the history of the world than that usually assigned to the introduction of cards into Europe. And we may take the fact of the tarot being the origin of the modern card as being now pretty well established by general consensus of opinion. It was Court de Gébelin who, in his Monde Primitif, Paris 1781, wrote, "Were we to hear that there exists in our day work of the ancient Egyptians, one of their books which had escaped the flames which devoured their superb libraries, and which contains their purest doctrine on most interesting subjects, everyone would doubtless be anxious to acquire the knowledge of so valuable and extraordinary a work. Were we to add that this book is widely spread through a large part of Europe, and that for several centuries it has been accessible to everyone, would not it be still more surprising? And would not that surprise be at its height were it asserted that people have never suspected that it was Egyptian, that they possess it in such a manner that they can hardly be said to possess it at all, that no one has ever attempted to decipher a single leaf, and that the outcome of a recondite wisdom is regarded as a mass of extravagant designs which mean nothing in themselves? Would not people think that one was trying to amuse oneself with and to play upon the credulity of one's hearers? Yet this is a true fact. This Egyptian book, the sole remains of their superb libraries, exists to our day. It is even so common that no savant has designed to trouble himself about it, no one before myself having suspected its illustrious origin. This book is composed of 77 leaves, or illustrations, or rather of 78, divided into 5 classes, which each present objects as various as they are amusing and instructive. In one word, this book is the pack of tarot cards. Let us now examine the word tarot, or tarot, and discover, if we can, its true derivation and meaning. Court de Gébelin states that there are 3 words of Oriental origin preserved in the nomenclature of the pack. These are tarot, met, and pagad. Tarot, he says, is pure Egyptian, from tar, path, and aro, ros, or rog, royal, the royal path of life. Mat is Oriental, and means overpowered, murdered, crack-brained, while pagad, he adds, is also Oriental, form peg, chief or master, and god, fortune. Valent says, "The great divinity Ashtaroth, Astaroth, is no other than the Indo-Tartar Tantara, the tarot, the zodiac. My derivation of the word, which I have never found given by any author, is from the ancient hieroglyphical Egyptian word taru, to require an answer, or to consult. Ergo, that which is consulted, or from which an answer is required. This appears to me to be the correct origin of the word, while the second T is an Egyptian hieroglyphic final, which is added to denote the feminine gender. The following are interesting metatheses of the letters of tarot. Torah, Hebrew, equals law. Troa, Hebrew, equals gate. Rota, Latin, equals wheel. Orat, Latin, equals it speaks, argues, or entreats. Tar, Egyptian, equals Tur, the goddess of darkness. Ator, Egyptian, equals Ather, the Egyptian Venus. Mr. Lumley tells me that there is a Zend word, tarisk, meaning to require an answer. There are Italian, Spanish, and German tarot packs, and since the time of Atala French also, but these latter are not so well adapted for occult study owing to Atala's attempted corrections of the symbolism. The Italian are decidedly the best for divination and practical occult purposes, and I shall, therefore, use them as the basis of the present treatise. Unfortunately, the old-fashioned single-headed cards are obsolete now, and the only ones made are double-headed, which circumstance alters the symbolism in a few instances. I shall, therefore, wherever necessary, describe the omitted portion of the design, enclosing it within brackets to mark the same. As I before observed, the tarot pack consists of 78 cards, namely 4 suits of 14 cards each, and 22 symbolic numbered trumps. The 4 suits are Italian, bastoni, French, batons, English, wands, scepters, or clubs, answering to diamonds. Italian, coppe, French, coupe, English, cups, chalices, or goblets, answering to hearts. Italian, spade, French, épée, English, swords, answering to spades. Italian, denari, French, deniers, English, money, circles or pentacles, answering to clubs. Each suit consists of ace, deuce, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Fanti or valet equals knave. Cavallo equals knight or horseman. Dama or reine equals queen. Re equals king. The kings in each instance wear a cap of maintenance beneath the crown. The queens wear the crown only. The Queen of Pentacles and the Knave of Scepters are the only ones represented in profile. In the suit of scepters, the king bears a wand akin to that represented on the small cards of the suit, while the other 3 honors bear a bludgeon similar to that which is shown for the ace. In the suit of cups, that only which is held by the queen is covered, thus showing the essentially feminine properties of this suit, while the scepter held by the king of the preceding suit shows its more masculine character. If we examine the small cards carefully, we shall be struck once by the comparative similarities of pattern of the scepters and the swords, which are only distinguished from each other by the former being straight and the latter being curved. We shall also notice that the deuces have peculiarities of their own, which distinguish them from the rest of the suit. The deuce of scepters forms a cross with 2 roses and 2 lilies in the opposite angles, the cross between the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valley. The deuce of cups shows a tessellated pavement or cloth whereon the cups stand. Between them is a species of caduceus, whose serpents are replaced by lion-headed foliations, which recall the Xnuphus serpent of the Gnostics, and certain familiar forms of the elemental spirits. Practical occultists will know to what I allude. The deuce of swords forms a species of vesica piscis, enclosing a mystic rose of the primary colors. The deuce of pentacles is bound together by a continuous band in such a manner as to form a figure 8, and represents the one as being the reflection of the other, as the universe is that of the divine idea. The 4 aces stand out by themselves from the rest of the pack, each forming, as it were, the key of its respective suit. The ace of scepters recalls the club of Hercules. It is surrounded by 8 detached leaves, whose shape recalls that of the Hebrew letter yod, or I, and is crowned with the symbol of the triad represented by the 3 lopped branches. It is the symbol of almighty strength within the cube of the universe, which latter is shown by the 8 leaves, for 8 is the first cubical number. The Ace of Cups is of Egyptian origin, which can be more easily seen in the Spanish tarot. The figure, like an inverted M on its front, is all that remains of the Egyptian twin serpents which originally decorated it. It represents the waters of creation in the first chapter of Genesis. It is the symbol of the power which receives and modifies. The Ace of Swords is a sword surmounted by a crown, from which depend on either side an olive and a palm branch, symbolic of mercy and severity. Around it are 6 Hebrew yods, recalling the 6 days of the Mosaic creation. It is the symbol of that justice which maintains the world in order, the equilibrium of mercy and severity. The Ace of Pentacles represents eternal synthesis, the great whole of the visible universe, the realization of counterbalanced power. The 22 trumps are the hieroglyphic symbols of the occult meanings of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. They are numbered from 0 to 21 inclusive. See table. Description of table. Number 1. Italian, il bagatto, pagad. French, le battleur. English, the juggler or magician. Hebrew, letter Aleph. A. Number 2. Italian, La Papessa, French, La Papesse. English, the High Priestess or Female Pope. Hebrew letter Beth, B, number 3. Italian, L'Imperatrice, French, L'Imperatrice. English, the Empress. Hebrew letter Gimel, G. Number 4. Italian, L'Imperatore, French, L'Empereur. English, the Emperor. Hebrew letter Daleth, D. Number 5. Italian, Il Papa, French, Le Pape. English, the Hierophant or Pope. Hebrew letter He, H. Number 6. Italian, Gliamanti, French, L'amoureux. English, the Lovers. Hebrew letter Vau, V. Number 7. Italian, Il Carro, French, Le Chariot. English, the Chariot. Hebrew letter Zain, Z. Number 8. Italian, La Giustizia, French, La Justice. English, Justice. Hebrew letter Cheth, CH. Number 9. Italian, L'Eremita, French, L'Ermite. English, the Hermit. Hebrew, letter Teth, T. Number 10. Italian, Rota di Fortuna, French, La Roue de Fortune. English, the Wheel of Fortune. Hebrew letter Yod, E. Number 11. Italian, La Forza, French, La Force. English, strength, fortitude. Hebrew letter Kaf, K. Number 12. Italian, Il Penduto, French, Le Pendu. English, the Hanged Man. Hebrew, letter Lamd, L. Number 13. Italian, Il Morte, French, La Mort. English, Death. Hebrew, letter Mem, M. Number 14. Italian, La Temperanza, French, La Temperance. English, Temperance. Hebrew, letter Nun, N. Number 15. Italian, Il Diavolo, French, Le Diable. English, the Devil. Hebrew letter Samek, S. Number 16. Italian, La Torre, French, Le Maison Dieu. English, the lightning-struck tower. Hebrew letter Ayin, O. Number 17. Italian, Le Stelle, French, L'Étoile. English, the star. Hebrew letter P, P. Number 18. Italian, La Luna, French, La Lune. English, the moon. Hebrew, letter Tzadi, Tis. Number 19. Italian, Il Sole, French, Le Soleil. English, the sun. Hebrew, letter Kof, Q. Number 20. Italian, L'Angelo, French, Le Jugement. English, the Last Judgment. Hebrew letter Resh, R. Number 0. Italian, Il Matto, Mati. French, Le Fou. English, the Foolish Man. Hebrew letter Shin, SH. Number 21. Italian, Il Mondo. French, Le Monde. English, the Universe. Hebrew letter Tau, TH. Symbolism of each of the keys. I will now describe carefully the symbolism of each of these hieroglyphical keys. 1. The juggler or magician. Before a table covered with the appliances of his art stands the figure of a juggler, one hand upraised holding a wand, in some packs a cup, the other pointing downwards. He wears a cap of maintenance like that of the kings, whose wide brim forms a sort of aureole round his head. His body and arms form the shape of the Hebrew letter Aleph, to which this card corresponds. He symbolizes will. 2. The High Priestess, or Female Pope. A woman crowned with a high mitre or tiara, her head encircled by a veil, a stole, or a solar cross, upon her breast, and the book of science open in her hand. She represents science, wisdom, or knowledge. 3. The Empress. A winged and crowned woman seated upon a throne, having in one hand a scepter bearing a globe surmounted by a cross, while she rests the other upon a shield with an eagle blazoned therein, on whose breast is the cross. She is the symbol of action, the result of the union of science and will. the fourth emperor. He is crowned, and leaning against a throne, his legs form a cross, and beside him, beneath his left hand, is a shield blazoned with an eagle. In his right hand he bears a scepter similar to that of the empress. His body and arms form a triangle, of which his head is the apex, so that the whole figure represents a triangle above a cross. He represents realization. 5. The Hierophant, or Pope. He is crowned with the papal tiara and seated between the two pillars of Hermes and of Solomon. With his right hand he makes the sign of esoterism, and with his left he leans upon a staff surmounted by a triple cross. Before him kneel two ministers. He is the symbol of mercy and beneficence. 6. The Lovers. This is usually described as representing man between vice and virtue, while a winged genius threatens vice with his dart. But I am rather inclined to the opinion that it represents the Kabbalistical microprosopis between Binah and Malkuth, see my Kabbalah Unveiled, while the figure above shows the influence descending from Kether. It is usually considered to mean proof or trial, but I am inclined to suggest wise disposition as its signification. 7. The Chariot. This is a most complicated and important symbol, which has been restored by Eliphas Levi. It represents a conqueror crowned and bearing a scepter, riding in a cubical chariot surmounted by 4 columns and a canopy, and drawn by 2 horses, one of which looks straight forward, while the other turns his head towards him. 2 wheels are shown in the complete single-headed figure. It represents triumph and victory of justice and judgment. 8. Justice. A woman crowned and seated on a throne between 2 columns, holding in her right hand an upright sword, and in her left the scales. She symbolizes equilibrium and justice. 9. The Hermit. An old and bearded man wrapped in a mantle, and with his head covered with a cowl, bearing in his right hand the lantern of occult science, while in his left he holds his magic wand half hidden beneath his cloak. He is Prudence. 10. The Wheel of Fortune. A wheel of 7 spokes. The 2 halves of the double-headed cards make it 8 spokes, which is incorrect. Revolving between 2 uprights, on the ascending side is an animal ascending, and on the descending side is a sort of monkey descending. Both forms are bound to the wheel. Above it is the form of an angel, or a sphinx in some, holding a sword in one hand and a crown in the other. This very complicated symbol is much disfigured and has been well restored by Levi. It symbolizes fortune, good or bad. 11th, strength or fortitude. A woman crowned with crown and cap of maintenance, who calmly and without effort closes the jaws of a furious lion. She represents strength. 12. The Hanged Man. This extraordinary symbol is almost unintelligible in the double-headed cards. Properly, it represents a man hung head downwards from a sort of gibbet by one foot. His hands are bound behind his back in such a manner that his body forms a triangle with the point downwards, and his legs a cross above it. 2 sacks or weights are attached to his armpits. He symbolizes sacrifice. 13. Death. A skeleton armed with a scythe, wherewith he mows down heads in a meadow like grass. He signifies transformation or change. 14th. Temperance. An angel with the sign of the sun on her brow, pouring liquid from one vessel into another. She represents combination. 15. The Devil. A horned and winged demon with eagle's claws, standing on an altar to which 2 smaller devils are bound by a collar and cord. In his left hand he bears a flame-headed scepter. He is the image of fate or fatality, good or evil. 16. The lightning-struck tower. A tower whose upper part is like a crown struck by a lightning flash. 2 men fall headlong from it, one of whom is in such an attitude as to form a Hebrew letter, ayin. Sparks and debris are falling. It shows ruin, disruption. 17. The Star. A nude female figure pours water upon the earth from two vases. In the heavens above her shines the blazing star of the Magi, surrounded by 7 others. Trees and plants grow beneath her magic influence, and on one, the butterfly of Psyche alights. She is the star of hope. 18. The moon. The moon shining in the heavens, drops of dew falling, a wolf and a dog howling at the moon, and halted at the foot of 2 towers, a path which loses itself in the horizon, and is sprinkled with drops of blood, a crayfish emblematic of the sign Cancer, ruled over by the moon, crawls through water in the foreground towards the land. It symbolizes twilight, deception, and error. 19. The sun. The sun sending down his rays upon 2 children who suggest the sign Gemini. Behind them is a low wall. It signifies earthly happiness. 20. The Last Judgment. An angel in the heavens blowing a trumpet, to which a standard with a cross thereon is attached. The dead rise from their tombs. It signifies renewal, result. 0. The Foolish Man. A man with a fool's cap, dressed like a jester, with a stick and bundle over his shoulder. Before him is the butterfly of pleasure, luring him on, while in some packs a tiger, in others a dog, attacks him from behind. It signifies folly, expiation. 21. The universe. Within a flowery wreath is a female figure nude save for a light scarf. She represents nature and the divine presence therein. In each hand she should bear a wand. At the 4 angles of the card are the 4 cherubic animals of the apocalypse. Above, the eagle and the man. Below, the lion and the bull. It represents completion, reward. Thus, the whole series of the 22 trumps will give a connected sentence which is capable of being read thus: the human will, 1, enlightened by science, 2, and manifested by. Action, 3, should find its realization, 4, in deeds of mercy and beneficence, 5. The wise disposition, 6, of this will give him victory, 7, through equilibrium, 8, and prudence, 9, over the fluctuations of fortune, 10. Fortitude, 11, sanctified by sacrifice of self, 12, will triumph over death itself, 13, and thus a wise combination, 14, will enable him to defy fate, 15. In each misfortune, 16, he will see the star of hope, 17, shine through the twilight of deception, 18, and ultimate happiness, 19, will be the result, 20. Folly, 0, on the other hand, will bring about an evil reward, 21. To prepare the pack for fortune-telling, write at the top of each card its number and signification when in its proper position, and at the bottom its meaning when reversed. To facilitate this, and to assist in reading them, I here append a list of the cards with the meanings, which I think will be found to answer all practical purposes. R means reversed. Meanings of the cards. 1. The Juggler. Will, willpower, dexterity, reversed will, applied to evil ends, weakness of will, cunning, knavishness. 2. The High Priestess. Science, wisdom, knowledge, education, reversed conceit, ignorance, unskillfulness, superficial knowledge. 3. The Empress. Action, plan, undertaking movement in a matter, initiative, reversed inaction, frittering away of power, want of concentration, vacillation. The 4th Emperor. Realization, effect, development, reversed stoppage, check, immature, unripe. 5. The Hierophant or Pope. Mercy, beneficence, kindness, goodness, reversed overkindness, weakness, foolish exercise of generosity. 6. The Lovers. Wise dispositions, proof, trials surmounted, reversed unwise plans, failure when put to the test. 7. The Chariot. Triumph, victory, overcoming obstacles, reversed overthrown, conquered by obstacles at the last moment. 8. themis or justice, equilibrium, balance, justice, reversed bigotry, want of balance, abuse of justice, over severity, inequality, bias. 9. The hermit, prudence, caution, deliberation, reversed overprudence, timorousness, fear. 10. The wheel of fortune, good fortune, success, unexpected luck, reversed ill fortune, failure, unexpected ill luck. 11th, strength or fortitude, power, might, force, strength, fortitude, reversed abuse of power, overbearingness, want of fortitude. 12. The hanged man, self-sacrifice, sacrifice, devotion, bound, reversed selfishness, unbound, partial sacrifice. 13. Death, death, change, transformation, alteration for the worse, reversed death, just escaped, partial change, alteration for the better. 14th temperance, combination, conformation, uniting, reversed ill-advised combinations, disunion, clashing interests, etc. 15. The devil, fatality for good, reversed fatality for evil. 16. The lightning-struck tower, ruin, disruption, overthrow, loss, bankruptcy, reversed these in a more or less partial degree. 17. The star, hope, expectation, bright promises, reversed hopes not fulfilled, expectations disappointed or fulfilled in a minor degree. 18. The moon, twilight, deception, error, reversed fluctuation, slight deceptions, trifling mistakes. 19. The sun, happiness, content, joy, reversed these in a minor degree. 20. The last judgment, renewal, result, determination of a matter, reversed postponement of result, delay, matter reopened later. 0. The foolish man, folly, expiation, wavering, reversed hesitation, instability, trouble arising herefrom. 21. The universe, completion, good reward, reversed evil reward or recompense. 22nd King of Scepters, man living in the country, country gentleman, knowledge, education, reversed. A naturally good but severe man, counsel, advice, deliberation. 23rd Queen of Scepters, woman living in the country, lady of the manor, love of money, avarice, usury, reversed a good, a virtuous woman, but strict and economical, obstacles, resistance, opposition. 24th Knight of Scepters, departure, separation, disunion, reversed rupture, discord, quarrel. 25th Knave of Scepters, a good stranger, good news, pleasure, satisfaction, reversed ill news, displeasure, chagrin, worry. 26. 10 of Scepters, confidence, security, honor, good faith, reversed treachery, subterfuge, duplicity, bar. 27th, 9 of Scepters, order, discipline, good arrangement, disposition, reversed obstacles, crosses, delay, displeasure. 28th, 8 of Scepters, understanding, observation, direction, reversed quarrels, intestine disputes, discord. 29th, 7 of Scepters, success, gain, advantage, profit, victory, reversed indecision, doubt, hesitation, embarrassment, anxiety. 30. 6 of Scepters, attempt, hope, desire, wish, expectation, reversed infidelity, treachery, disloyalty, perfidy. 31st, 5 of Scepters, gold, opulence, gain, heritage, riches, fortune, money, reversed legal proceedings, judgment, law, lawyer, tribunal. 32nd, 4 of Scepters, society, union, association, concord, harmony, reversed prosperity, success, happiness, advantage. 33rd, 3 of Scepters, enterprise, undertaking, commerce, trade, negotiation, reversed hope, desire, attempt, wish. 34th Deuce of Scepters, riches, fortune, opulence, magnificence, grandeur, reverse surprise, astonishment, event, extraordinary occurrence. 35th Ace of Scepters, birth, commencement, beginning, origin, source, reversed persecution, pursuits, violence, vexation, cruelty, tyranny. 36th King of Cups, a fair man, goodness, kindness, liberality, generosity, reversed a man of good position, but shifty in his dealings, distrust, doubt, suspicion. 37th Queen of Cups, a fair woman, success, happiness, advantage, pleasure, reversed a woman in good position, but intermeddling and to be distrusted, success, but with some attendant trouble. 38th Knight of Cups, arrival, approach, advance, reversed duplicity, abuse of confidence, fraud, cunning. 39th Knave of Cups, a fair youth, confidence, probity, discretion, integrity, reversed a flatterer, deception, artifice. 40. Ten of Cups, the town wherein one resides, honor, consideration, esteem, virtue, glory, reputation, reversed combat, strife, opposition, differences, dispute. 41st. Nine of Cups, victory, advantage, success, triumph, difficulties surmounted, reversed faults, errors, mistakes, imperfections. 42. Eight of Cups, a fair girl, friendship, attachment, tenderness, reversed gaiety, feasting, joy, pleasure. 43rd. Seven of Cups, idea, sentiment, reflection, project, reversed plan, design, resolution, decision. 44. Six of Cups, the past, passed by, faded, vanished, disappeared, reversed the future, that which is to come, shortly, soon. 45. Five of Cups, union, junction, marriage, inheritance, reversed arrival, return, news, surprise, false projects. 46. Four of Cups, ennui, displeasure, discontent, dissatisfaction, reversed new acquaintance, conjecture, sign, presentiment. 47. Three of Cups, success, triumph, victory, favorable issue, reversed expedition of business, quickness, celerity, vigilance. 48th Deuce of Cups, love, attachment, friendship, sincerity, affection, reversed cross desires, obstacles, opposition, hindrance. 49th Ace of Cups, feasting, banquet, good cheer, reversed change, novelty, metamorphosis, inconstancy. 50th King of Swords, a lawyer, a man of law, power, command, superiority, authority, reversed a wicked man, chagrin, worry, grief, fear, disturbance. 51st Queen of Swords, widowhood, loss, privation, absence, separation, reversed a bad woman, ill-tempered and bigoted, riches and discord, abundance together with worry, joy with grief. 52nd Knight of Swords, a soldier, a man whose profession is arms, skillfulness, capacity, address, promptitude, reversed a conceited fool, ingenuousness, simplicity. 53rd Knave of Swords, a spy, overlooking authority, reversed that which is unforeseen, vigilance, support. 54. Ten of Swords, tears, affliction, grief, sorrow, reversed passing success, momentary advantage. 55th. Nine of Swords, an ecclesiastic, a priest, conscience, probity, good faith, integrity, reversed wise distrust, suspicion, fear, doubt, shady character. 56. Eight of Swords, sickness, calumny, criticism, blame, reversed treachery, in the past, event, accident, remarkable incident. 57. Seven of Swords, hope, confidence, desire, attempt, wish, reversed wise advice, good counsel, wisdom, prudence, circumspection. 58. Six of Swords, envoy, messenger, voyage, travel, reversed declaration, love proposed, revelation, surprise. 59. Five of Swords, mourning, sadness, affliction, reversed losses, trouble, same signification, whether reversed or not. 60. Four of Swords, solitude, retreat, abandonment, solitary, hermit, reversed economy, precaution, regulation of expenditure. 61. Three of Swords, a nun, separation, removal, rupture, quarrel, reversed error, confusion, misrule, disorder. 62nd deuce of swords, friendship, valor, firmness, courage. Reversed false friends, treachery, lies. 63rd ace of swords, triumph, fecundity, fertility, prosperity, reversed embarrassment, foolish and hopeless love, obstacle, hindrance. 64th king of pentacles, a dark man, victory, bravery, courage, success, reversed. An old and vicious man, a dangerous man, doubt, fear, peril, danger. 65th queen of pentacles, a dark woman, a generous woman, liberality, greatness of soul, generosity, reversed certain evil, a suspicious woman, a woman justly regarded with suspicion, doubt, mistrust. 66th knight of pentacles, a useful man, trustworthy, wisdom, economy, order, regulation, reversed. A brave man but out of employment, idle, unemployed, negligent. 67th knave of pentacles, a dark youth, economy, order, rule, management, reversed prodigality, profusion, waste, dissipation. 68th, 10 of pentacles, house, dwelling, habitation, family, reversed gambling, dissipation, robbery, loss. 69, 9 of pentacles, discretion, circumspection, prudence, discernment, reversed deceit, bad faith, artifices, deception. 70, 8 of pentacles, a dark girl, beauty, candor, chastity, innocence, modesty, reversed flattery, usury, hypocrisy, shifty. 71, 7 of pentacles, money, finance, treasure, gain, profit, reversed disturbance, worry, anxiety, melancholy. 72, 6 of pentacles, presents, gifts, gratification, reversed ambition, desire, passion, aim, longing. 73, 5 of pentacles, lover or mistress, love, sweetness, affection, pure and chaste love, reversed disgraceful love, imprudence, license, profligacy. 74, 4 of pentacles, pleasure, gaiety, enjoyment, satisfaction, reversed obstacles, hindrances. 75, 3 of pentacles, nobility, elevation, dignity, rank, power, reversed children, sons, daughters, youths, commencement. 76th deuce of pentacles, embarrassment, worry, difficulties, reversed letter, missive, epistle, message. 77th, ace of pentacles, perfect contentment, felicity, prosperity, triumph, reversed purse of gold, money, gain, help, profit, riches. The following additional remarks may be serviceable to the inexperienced cartomancer. They are chiefly taken from Attila. 24th Knight of Scepters. This card is not to be read singly. It means the departure of the card which follows it. Reversed. Again, notice the card which follows it. If a woman, quarrel with a woman. If money, then loss of money, etc. 25th Knave of Scepters. Reverse notice between what cards the news falls, which will show whence it comes, and of what nature it is. 34th Deuce of Scepters. Reversed. If the cards fall, 49. Reversed, 34 reversed, you will be surprised by a change. If 47, 49 reversed, 34 reversed, it will be happy. But the reverse, if they fall 54, 49 reversed, 34 reversed. 38. The Knight of Cups. This shows the arrival of the card which follows it, as 38, 54, the arrival of affliction or grief. 38, 39, the visit of a fair young man, etc. 43rd, 7 of Cups, explains the card which follows, thus 43, 30, 33, the idea of attempting some undertaking. This will again be modified by the following cards. 44, 6 of Cups, shows either that what precedes it is past, has occurred already, or if reversed, what is going to happen. 46, 4 of Cups. The following cards might show what the displeasure or anxiety was about, the preceding cards, whence it originated. 51st Queen of Swords. This is not necessarily to be taken by itself. It may signify that the person symbolized by the cards near it has just lost, or is likely soon to lose, wife or husband. In some instances, it may merely signify that if two people are married, the one will die sometime before the other, but not necessarily that the event will occur immediately. 53rd Knave of Swords, reversed. If 72-53 reversed, an unexpected present. If 53 reversed, 54, unexpected grief, etc. 55th, Nine of Swords, reversed. The card following will show whom or what to distrust, etc. 56, Eight of Swords, reversed shows treachery or deceit in the past, and will be explained by the neighboring cards. 57, Seven of Swords, reversed. The cards which come next will show whether it will be good to follow the advice given or not. Also, the preceding cards will show from whom and why the advice comes. 60, Four of Swords, reversed. The cards near will show whether it is health or money that requires care. 61, Three of Swords, reversed may show simply that something is lost or mislaid for a time. 62nd, Deuce of Swords, reversed. If confirmed by the other cards, may simply mean that the friends are not of much use to the inquirer in the matter under consideration. 65th, Queen of Pentacles, reversed, if this card does not signify any particular person. If 65 reversed, 31 reversed, it is not said that there will be a lawsuit. If 31 reversed, 65 reversed, if you gain your case, you won't be much the better for it. 67th, Knave of Pentacles, reversed. Consult the following cards to see in what the person is prodigal. If 67 reversed, 57 reversed, it may simply mean that the person is too fond of giving advice, intermeddles too much with other people's business. 71, Seven of Pentacles, reversed. The next card will show the reason of the anxiety, and so on. 73, Five of Pentacles, shows simply that there is someone whom the person loves. The court cards, and especially the kings and queens, may be taken to represent persons. In this case, their additional meaning should not be read. The swords represent very dark people. Pentacles, those not so dark. Cups, rather fair people. Wands, or scepters, those much fairer, and so on. Many wands together might signify feasting. Many cups, love-making. Swords, quarreling and trouble. Coins or pentacles, money. Where the mode of reading the cards requires that the person consulting should be represented, he should take one of the kings to represent himself, according to his complexion. If a lady consults the cards, let her take one of the queens. If she be rather fair, the Queen of Cups. If she be very fair, the Queen of Wands or Scepters. If the inquirer be quite a youth or a boy, let him take one of the knights. If a very young girl, let her take the knave, etc. Attela's plan was to take two of the keys for significators, that answering to the Pope for a man, that answering to the High Priestess for a woman. But I do not think this is so well. The worst of Attela's system is that he so completely destroys the meanings of the keys in his attempted rearrangement of them as to make them practically useless for higher occult purposes. Methods of Divination. I shall now give several modes of laying out the cards for divination. The reader can adopt whichever he prefers, or he can combine them. Whatever mode of laying out be adopted, it is necessary that the person inquiring should carefully shuffle the cards with two objects in view. Firstly, that of turning some of the cards upside down. Secondly, that of thoroughly altering their position and sequence in the pack. They should then be cut. During the shuffling and cutting, the inquirer should think earnestly of the matter concerning which he is anxious for information, for unless he does this, the cards will rarely read correctly. This shuffling and cutting should be thrice repeated. The backs of the cards should be towards the person shuffling. First method. The full pack of 78 cards having been first duly shuffled and cut, deal the top card on a part of the table, which we will call B, the second card on another place, which we will call A. These will form the commencement of two heaps, A and B, into which the whole pack is to be dealt. Then deal the third and fourth cards on B, and the fifth on A, the sixth and seventh on B, and the eighth on A, the ninth and 10th on B, and the 11th on A. Continue this operation of dealing 2 cards on B and 1 on A till you come to the end of the pack. A will then consist of 26 cards and B of 52. Now take up the B heap of 52 cards, deal the top card on a fresh place which we will call D, and the second card on another place C. This will form the beginning of 2 fresh heaps, C and D. Then deal the third and fourth cards on D, and the fifth on C, the sixth and seventh on D, and the eighth on C, and so on as before, through these 52 cards. There will now be 3 heaps. A equals 26 cards, C equals 17 cards, and D equals 35 cards. Again, take up the heap D of 35 cards, and deal the top card on a fresh spot F, and the second card on another place E, so as to make 2 fresh heaps, E and F. Now deal the third and fourth cards on F, and the fifth on E, and so on as before, through these 35 cards. There will now be 4 heaps altogether. A equals 26 cards, C equals 17 cards, E equals 11, and F equals 24. Put F aside altogether, as these cards are not to be used in the reading and are supposed to have no bearing on the question. There will now remain A, C, and E. Take A and arrange the 26 cards face upwards from right to left, being careful not to alter the order, so that they are in the form of a horseshoe, the top card being at the lowest right-hand corner, and the 26th at the lowest left-hand corner. Read their meanings from right to left, as before, explained. When this is done so as to make a connected answer, take the first and 26th and read their combined meaning, then that of the second and 25th, and so on till you come to the last pair, which will be the 13th and 24th 14th. Put A aside and take C and read it in exactly the same way, then E last. This is a very ancient mode of reading the tarot and will be found reliable. Second method. Withdraw the king or queen selected for the inquirer's significator from the pack. Then shuffle and cut the same as before. Place the significator on the table, face upwards, leaving plenty of room for the selected cards on the left-hand side of it. Now go carefully through the pack, taking the top card first, then the 7th card from it, and so on through the pack, recommencing if necessary, until you have drawn 21 cards by taking every 7th. The cards should be arranged in 3 rows of 7 cards each, from right to left, on the left side of the significator. The first row contains cards 1 through 7, with card 1 placed closest to the significator. The second row contains cards 8 through 14, with card 8 directly below the significator. The third row contains cards 15 through 21. Each row reads from right to left, starting nearest the significator. Read the meaning of each row from right to left, beginning with the significator, then combine the first and 21st, the second and 20th, and so on, as in the previous method. Third method. This mode of laying out the cards is rather more complicated than the preceding. Withdraw the significator and shuffle and cut as before. Then deal the cards in a special pattern forming a triangle within an arch. The significator is placed in the center of the triangle. Cards are numbered from 1 to 66 in specific positions around the significator. Cards 1 to 11 and 34 to 44 represent the past. Cards 23 to 33 and 56 to 66 represent the present. Cards 12 to 22 and 45 to 55 represent the future. The remaining 11 cards are set aside and not used in the reading. Then 1 to 11 and 34 to 44 inclusive will show the past. 23 to 33 and 56 to 66 inclusive will show the present. And 12 to 22 and 45 to 55 inclusive will show the future. Now read them simply in order from 1 to 44 for the past, from 23 to 66 for the present, and from 12 to 785 for the future, 55 for the future. Then combine the significator with every 2 cards, thus significator 34, 1, significator 33, 2, significator 34, 3, and so on up to significator 44, 11 for the past. Then take significator 56, 23, significator 57, 24, and so on for the present. And then take significator 45, 12, significator 46, 13, up to significator 55, 22 for the future. Again, vary the combinations by taking significator 44, 1, significator 43, 2, up to significator 34, 11 for the past, significator 66, 23, significator 65, 24, up to significator 56, 33 for the present, and significator 55, 12, significator 54, 13, up to significator 45, 22 for the future. Finally, combine them all together, thus 66, 1, 65, 2, 64, 3, and so on up to 34, 33, placing them in a single packet one on the other as you do so. And when this is finished, deal the whole 66 cards in one large circle, placing the significator as a starting point, when 33 will be the first card and 66 the last card on either side of the significator. Now gather them up thus in pairs for the last reading, significator 66, 33, 1, 34, 2, and so on up to the last card, which will be a single one. Draw 2 other fresh cards at random from the 11 cards which have not been used in the reading, and place them face upwards one on either side to form a surprise. Read these 3 from right to left as conclusion. This mode is rather difficult at first, but practice will give facility. Tarot Gameplay. These tarot cards may be used like the ordinary packs for games as well as for divination, and it may be as well to give the general rules and mode of play. The game of tarot may be played by either 2 or 3 persons. The full pack of 78 cards is shuffled and cut in the ordinary manner. The dealer deals them out in 3 hands by 5 cards at a time and places the remaining 3 cards at his own right-hand side. There will thus be 3 hands of 25 cards each and 3 cards besides. The players sort their hands, and the dealer discards the 3 most useless cards in his own hand and exchanges them for the before-mentioned 3 cards. The deal is taken in rotation by each player. The method of dealing is the same, whether 2 or 3 players participate, 3 hands being dealt out in each instance. But if only 2 players contend with each other, the 3rd hand is untouched by either party. The points constituting the game are 100, which may be marked on a cribbage board, on paper, or by an ordinary bezique marker. Before the hands are played out, their score is reckoned in the following way. The 22 trumps are not all of the same value. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17 are called the 5 greater trumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are called the 5 lesser trumps. Whoever has 3 of the greater or 3 of the lesser trumps in his hand scores 5 points for the same, 10 points if he has 4, and 15 points if he have all 5. If the player has any 10 trumps in his hand, they will score 10 points. Any 13 trumps, 15 points. It does not matter if greater or lesser trumps, which have been already scored, form part of such 10 or 13. All scores are independent of other combinations. Furthermore, for any cards to be scored, they must be shown to the adversary at the time of scoring. This rule holds good in all cases. The non-dealer scores and leads first. If 3 play, the player on the dealer's left hand begins. 7 cards bear the distinguishing title of tarot trumps. They are the Universe, 21, the Mat, or Foolish Man, 0, the Pagad, Juggler or Magician, 1, the King of Scepters, the King of Cups, the King of Swords, and the King of Pentacles. If the player has any 2 of these tarot trumps, he can ask his opponent for a 3rd. If the latter cannot reply by showing a 3rd tarot trump, the former can score 5 points, but if he has the third, it must be given up to the asker, who then does not score, but gives him some card of small value in exchange. For every 3 tarot trumps actually held in the hand, the holder marks 15 points. Sequences of trumps or of cards of the same suit count. For every 4 cards in sequence, 5 points. For every 7 cards, 10 points. For 10 cards, 15 points. All cards forming these scores must be shown to the adversary. 0, the foolish man, is the lowest card in the pack in playing the hand, can take no card of any suit, and may be played to a card of any suit. For instance, if the adversary leads a king, and you have only the queen of that suit remaining in your hand, but have also the 0, you can play this instead of the queen, and thus save her from being taken. A king cut counts 5 points to whosoever cuts it. In each suit, king is highest, then come queen, knight, knave, 10, 9, etc., down to ace, which is lowest and can only take the 0. The trumps reckon from 21, which is highest, to 1, which is lowest. You must follow suit if you can, if not, you may trump. Each trick should be kept separate for counting afterwards. Of course, the principal care of the player should be directed towards saving his own important cards and taking those of the adversary. The player who takes a trick leads next. When all the hand is played out, the tricks on either side are counted as follows. For every trick in which there is a tarot trump, 5 points. The 0 counts to its original possessor, while the pagad, 1, counts to the player who takes it. For every trick with a queen, 4 points. With a knight, 3 points. With a knave, 2 points. For every other trick, 1 point. At the end of each hand, the points made by each player are added up separately. Then the lesser is taken from the greater, and only the excess points of the more fortunate player are scored. The same is done in each hand, and the player who in this way first reaches 100 points, or over in the final hand, wins the game. For my reader's convenience, I append a table of the points which can be scored in hand. For any 3 of the greater trumps held in hand equals 5 points. For any 4 of the greater trumps held in hand equals 10 points. For all 5 of the greater trumps held in hand equals 15 points. For any 3 of the lesser trumps held in hand equals 5 points. For any 4 of the lesser trumps held in hand equals 10 points. For all 5 of the lesser trumps held in hand equals 15 points. For any 10 trumps held in hand equals 10 points. For any 13 trumps held in hand equals 15 points. For any 2 tarot trumps called unanswered equals 5 points. For any 3 tarot trumps actually held in hand equals 15 points. For every sequence of 4 cards equals 5 points. For every sequence of 7 cards equals 10 points. For every sequence of 10 cards equals 15 points. Scored in play. For a king, cut equals 5 points. For each trick containing a tarot trump equals 5 points. Each trick containing a queen equals 4 points. For each trick containing a knight equals 3 points. For each trick containing a knave equals 2 points. For every trick of 2 plain cards equals 1 point. If 3 players contend, of course the third player will form an additional factor in the game. Then, when the 3 compare their various scores in the same hand, only he who has most should score, and then only the amount by which he exceeds the player who comes second. The other players do not score at all. Occult significance of the tarot cards. Before concluding this short treatise, I will say a few words on the occult and Kabbalistical signification of these wonderful tarot cards. It has been long known that the ordinary 52 card pack was susceptible of some peculiar numerical significations. 52 cards in the pack suggest 52 weeks in the year. 13 cards in each suit suggest 13 lunar months in the year, 13 weeks in the quarter. 4 suits in the pack suggest 4 seasons in the year. 12 picture cards in the pack suggest 12 months in the year, 12 signs of the zodiac. Furthermore, if we add together The pips on the playing cards of the 4 suits equals 220. The pips on the 12 picture cards equals 12. 12 picture cards reckoned as 10 each equals 120. The number of cards in each suit equals 13. We shall obtain the number of days in the year equals 365. But concealed behind their apparently arbitrary and bizarre designs, the tarot cards contain a far more complicated system of recondite symbolism. We find the number 10 multiplied by the mystical number 4 and combined with a primitive hieroglyphic alphabet of 22 letters. Eliphas Levi says in his Histoire de la Magie, "The absolute hieroglyphical science had for its basis an alphabet of which all the gods were letters, all the letters ideas, all the ideas numbers, and all the numbers perfect signs. This hieroglyphical alphabet, of which Moses made the great secret of his Kabbalah, and which he retook from the Egyptians, for according to the Sefer Yetzirah, it came from Abraham. This alphabet, we say, is the famous Book of Thoth, suspected by Court de Gebelin to be preserved to the present time under the form of that peculiar pack of cards which is called the tarot. The 10 numbers and 22 letters are what are called, in the Kabbalah, the 32 paths of science, and their philosophical description is the subject of that primitive and revered work known as the Sefer Yetzirah, which is still to be found in the collection of Pistorius and others. The alphabet of Thoth is the original of our tarot, only in an altered form. The tarot which we have is of Jewish origin, and the types of the figures cannot be traced back further than the reign of Charles VI. The Sefer Yetzirah referred to in the above quotation has been recently translated by my friend Dr. Wynne Westcott, who is a skillful and erudite Kabbalistical student, so that it can now be read in English. It certainly gives, in my opinion, the Kabbalistical key of the tarot, and shows at once, by evident analogy, the ancient and religious origin of its bizarre symbolism. It consists of 33 short sections, the 33rd being merely recapitulatory, divided into 5 chapters, and elucidated by 32 occult paragraphs called the Paths. In fact, it may be called a treatise on the 10 and the 22. The numbers from 1 to 10 are said to symbolize the spirit, air, water, fire, height, depth, east, west, north, south. The 22 letters are divided into 3 mother letters, A, M, S, H, referring to air, water, and fire. 7 double letters, B, G, D, K, P, R, T, H, referring to the 7 planets, etc., and 12 simple letters, H, V, Z, C, H, T, I, L, N, S, O, T's, Q, referring to the 12 signs of the zodiac, etc. Christian, the disciple of Levi, in his recent work on magic, has made the explanation of the 22 hieroglyphics of the tarot form part of the initiatory ceremonies of the Egyptian mysteries of Krata Repoa. The symbols of 3 of the 22 trumps of the tarot were thus restored by Eliphas Levi. 7. The chariot. A cubical chariot with 4 columns, surmounted by an azure and star-decked canopy. Within the chariot and between the 4 columns stands a conqueror crowned with a circlet, from which rise and shine 3 pentagrams of gold. On his cuirass are 3 right angles, and on his shoulders the Urim and Thummim, symbolized by the 2 crescents of the moon in increase and decrease. In his hand is a scepter surmounted by a globe, a square, and a triangle. His attitude is proud and tranquil. To the chariot is attached a double sphinx, or rather 2 sphinxes joined together. One of them turns its head, and they both look in the same direction. The sphinx, which turns its head towards the other, is black and menacing. The other is white and calm. On the square which forms the front of the chariot we see the Indian lingam, surmounted by the flying globe of the Egyptians. The Wheel of Fortune, a wheel of 7 spokes, the cosmogonical wheel of Ezekiel, with a dog-headed figure ascending on one side, Anubis, the Egyptian Mercury, and a demon descending on the other, the Egyptian evil deity, Typhon. The former of these bears a caduceus, the latter a trident. Both figures are bound to the wheel. Above them is a sphinx at the balance point of the wheel, holding a drawn sword between its lion's claws. 12. The Devil. Throned on a cube above the universe is a goat-headed satyr-like figure, bearing on its brow the pentagram, apex upward so as to make it a symbol of light. With one hand it points upwards to the symbol of the moon in increase, with the other downwards to that of the moon in decrease, thus symbolizing the eternal equilibrium of mercy and justice. The first two fingers and thumb of each hand are extended, as in giving the sign of benediction. One arm is feminine, the other masculine. The torch of intelligence is placed between its horns as the magical light of the universal equilibrium. The caduceus, which holds the place of the generative organs, signifies the eternity of life. The belly is covered with scales to represent water. The circle above it is the atmosphere. The wings are the emblem of the volatile, and the deformed and goat-like feet rest upon the earth. Space does not allow me to enter further into the subject, on which indeed several volumes might be written without exhausting it. I can only hope that this short treatise will suffice to give my readers some idea of the recondite meaning of the tarot cards and how to employ them in divination.